This conference will now be recorded.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for showing up. I call the meeting to order. If you would all rise. Dr. Ron, would you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if you remain standing, the invocation, Pastor Larry Light is on with us virtually. Go ahead, Pastor.
All right, let's pray together. Heavenly Father, we're reminded this evening that blessed is the nations whose God is the Lord. And we thank you for the hope that you promise to people who call upon you. Lord, thank you for this third vaccine. We pray for favor in the acceleration of the production of it, Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson. And we ask for favor in the distribution of it, that there would be shots into people's arms. Father, we pray that you would lift any cloud of isolation, especially among the elderly, and bless our country. Thank you for the town leaders that are gathered together this evening, and we pray that you'll give them the spirit of wisdom, guide and direct them to make good decisions that would prosper the people in our community. So Father, bless them. We thank you for them. Bless their families, keep them safe. And now we commit this meeting to you tonight and ask for your blessing upon it. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you.
Well, I see Patty Wood is coming in, so we'll just give her a minute to sit down. We did the pledge and the invocation, Patty, so interrupt your prayer. Yeah, that's fine. Just give me a second to get set. Thank you. We're good. Okay. Everybody got the minutes from last month of 8th February? And the approval as submitted? Second. Okay, motion's been made and seconded for the approval of the 8th February 2021 minutes. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Are there any opposed? That motion is carried. Okay, everybody get a copy of the assessor and the code and the dog reports. Are there any questions on those reports? Okay, Walt, you notice the agenda? I didn't forget you this month.
I did see that. I have nothing to report.
She reminded me, so Walt, you're up.
I have nothing to report.
Okay, Jeff, highway.
All right, I have a couple things, nothing serious. We'd submitted a pre-application for some grant money through Delaware County Soil and Water to aid in dewatering our sites. We put in for some pumps and strainers and hoses and such. We didn't really have any stream bed issues that we were able to identify. Obviously, we haven't been up and down the brooks this winter. It's been a little tough for that. And speaking of that, February was an awful busy month with the snow, as we all know. As far as our crew, everybody remains healthy at this point. We've had a couple of quarantines, but no positives among any of our crew, so that's been helpful. One other thing I would like to get some direction on is addressing this right-of-way issue at the end of these dead-end roads. I've had a couple different situations, people barricading the ends of our roads and such. And in the event that we need to plow snow or get equipment up the roads to be able to do ditch work, shoulder work, seal them, any of that, we need to have a place to turn around at the end. And people squeezing us out at the end of the road isn't really going to work for us. So I would like some direction on where to head with that situation.
Well, I guess the first thing I would ask is, do we have anything written that provides the description of any of these turnarounds?
Well,
Not aware of.
law says that we should have access to it, right?
Okay.
30 feet from the center of the road.
Okay, so yeah, I understand that there's, municipal law that dictates that, but we don't, the town, and I never really thought about it until Jeff just brought this up. There's no written descriptions of
What roads we're talking?
of the turnarounds on any of the roads we're talking about.
Like, you mean, like measurements, like meets and?
Yeah.
No.
Nothing, no meets and bounds for anything. Okay.
Probably what roads, because I mean, the dead end roads are the ones that we have to worry about. I think,
Well, any town road,
Any,
would be part of,
yeah, any road that is maintained by the town.
I think that's the biggest issue, because the one in particular, we talked about this at the highway committee meeting. I asked Jeff where the line was for the town road.
Yeah.
Because they put a gate up across that. But our turnaround is beyond that, but that may not be part of our road, but there's a turnaround that we maintained for years and years. So I think whether that's, well, we gotta find out if we maintain it, if they can block it or not. I mean, it's creating a real problem on that particular road because there's no place to turn around. You have to take a smaller truck up.
yeah. Okay.
So we gotta find out
Yeah.
somehow about that.
I guess the first thing we need, just for my clarification, Jeff, give me a list of roads that have those specific sites on them. And along with that list, the ones that you are having issues with, a brief description of the issues so we can sit down with Carly and figure this out. I'm guessing that the law is going to favor us no matter what we do.
We had a discussion before on the particularly on that road going up toward the dumps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And
We got the gate. Or
we
cut the law.
cut the gate,
Yeah.
exactly. So what is it that we have to do?
Well, this,
I think we
One-
go
the
and
one
take
road I
the gate
think-
out.
I think there's one road we're talking about is a different situation than that road.
Mhm.
Because I think up there, and maybe Walt can correct me on that, I think they actually blocked or put a gate across a portion that was actually our road. This other one that's the issue, our road may end, and I'm not sure about this, our road may end before.
So the turnaround, it might be past our road. We
Right.
might have to make a new turnaround, or we
Well,
have to see if we can.
We talked about that at the highway committee, and there's really no, but it's about spending a lot of money to make another turnaround because of the way the hillside and stuff, so,
But we're not paving that portion of the road. We're not maintaining that road.
Yes, he's saying that we maintain up to the turnaround, and the turnaround's past the gate.
Then there's no argument. The gate goes down. That's
Yeah,
it.
well, he's talking
If
about
it's within
different
the
spots.
feet.
He's talking about,
If it's within
this
the
is
feet.
a separate
Separate
location.
location.
I understand, but that's what I'm asking about. If we're maintaining that road, we have the right to go to the turnaround point.
But he's saying
They
the
don't have to
turnaround
find
point is on their property, not within that 30 feet, and we don't have.
I'm not saying we don't have.
But there might be an argument since we maintained it for so long,
I think we need to find
That's-
out
that's-
before we.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
Wouldn't that fall under interest possession?
that's what I'm getting. But what I think, first, if it's gonna list of the properties, or the streets of property owners, if you could. And then I'll contact Real Property Services and see what, if any, surveys. are-
And we've talked about this, but have we ever reached out to the homeowners?
And I was gonna, recently with with that one up on.
The board, not the guys with the plow, who have to deal with it. Maybe
Jeff has talked to him, and I think the one,
Not that Jeff doesn't have the authority, but just saying,
right,
is it,
we
should
think
it
the one
come
up,
from the board
the one
saying,
off, yeah, the one off Route 10, we think is south, that issue's south.
right,
Is that the one with the boulders?
I don't think boulders, that's one where they had that.
No, they had that.
Shaking it through, so that's one.
They put it in.
There's another list of boulders.
So, I think we should, once we find out, well, the town board should send them a letter or do something, so.
What I think we'll do is, Jeff, once we get that list, and if you can identify the owners, I'll sit down with Carly, we'll come up with a plan. If it's a letter and a face-to-face discussion with the homeowners to try to resolve this, these issues and we're not talking a lot, we're just talking a few.
the thing is, if we have a letter, it's in writing too, where it's face to face, I mean,
Yes.
conversation
Yes.
can be different.
But, yeah, and I'm sure there's some type of resolution we can get to. And hopefully hopefully we're toward the end of the snow season, so we have a long time to settle this, you know, but knock on wood on that.
I will get working on that list, but also, even though we're at the end of snow season, we're going to need to be accessing that throughout the rest of the year. And we can't come to lock the gate at the end of a road and not have a place to turn around.
Right, yeah, okay. I follow you. I guess my mind was more of in the plowing aspect of it, but yeah, either way, when you have to maintain the road.
Yeah, we're gonna be sealing, I think he said we're gonna be sealing that road for all the equipment to get up in there. We really need to have a spot to turn around. What is that? Is that Beers Road or William Beers Road?
William Beers.
William Beers Road.
Right behind the shop.
That's the only one we're having a big problem with, because I missed the meeting the other night.
That's a big, yeah, that's the main one.
All right.
I could add something.
Sure.
Actually, on any of that, we don't own any of those, or the town doesn't own, not even the roads. There's nothing in fee. And we've had ongoing issues for years with turnaround spots. And normally when they come around is when the homeowners have changed. The people that lived there before understood, and there's been conversations, like say, there's nothing in writing on that. And everybody had an understanding that for the maintenance to be done, safely done, you need to be able to get turned around. And these have been ongoing for years. And I think it's just come to a lot more. And with the more and more people moving up here and real estate changing, I think you're something that really needs to be done, but there's nothing in writing on anything. We don't own them in fee. We own them because we use them a right away and we've maintained them. Even if it hasn't been in the last 4 or 5 years that maintenance has been done, at some point in the last 20 years, maintenance has been done on all the places that we turn around. They've been like that 20 years ago when I started doing the highway and plowing. I don't think any of the turnarounds have changed. Just the ownership of the land has changed.
That's more than help and read it right in. And these people don't realize how much room it takes to turn a truck around for plowing up front. We went up to one up on Smith Road and we actually took a truck and a plow up there to show them. You know, you don't just turn around like you do with a pickup truck. It takes a lot of room to swing one of them trucks because the plow sticks out so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for that, Walt. And again, once we get that list, I'll develop a plan with Carly on an action plan to resolve it. So, is there anything else, Jeff?
Nope, that was it.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want to do the bids now or later?
We
Yeah.
can now.
We can do the bids now, yeah.
Okay, so I have the bid sheet here, for the 1As, 1Bs, the stone. Carver was a low bidder, 1As was, you want me to read these out or just give you a copy of it?
I actually have a copy, so if you want to read it out for the.
Okay, so 1As, this means this is just a different sizes of stone, 23.75 a ton delivered. 1B's 20.50 a ton. 1ST's 20.50 a ton. Number 1's 20.50 a ton. And number 2 was 20.50 a ton. The other bidder was Cobblestone Stone, and they were probably 50 cents, 30 to 50 cents higher on everything. Processing of gravel and winter abrasive. We had 2 bids from Northern and from Clark. Northern was a low bidder on processing gravel. They were $4.25 a ton, and on processing winter abrasive, they were $5 a ton. Jeff, is that the same one that did it this year?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. Okay. No bids on pipes. Nobody bid on those. So I don't know. I guess we just buy off county bid, probably, right? Yeah. And bidding on an excavator with operator, we had 1 bid from Robinson Brothers at $190 per hour. And I'll make a motion that we accept the low bidders on these.
Second. Okay, a motion has been made and seconded to accept the bids as listed. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Is there any opposed? None opposed, so that motion is carried. Thank you, Kevin, for reading that. Okay. All right, Rhonda.
I am currently 79% collected in taxes and currently awaiting the direct pays from the county treasurer for the state and utility payments, which should increase the percentage. And also, we are currently still 72 dogs past due, and the Delaware County Public Health stated that they are not scheduling rabies clinics at this time, and that dog owners will need to contact their veterinarian for rabies vaccinations. And that's all I have.
Do I have to tell you when have a dog died, or do it just that just come up and I go register?
You can either let me know before they're due or. Okay.
How old was it?
Oh, she was on,
Oh, she, yeah, okay.
like 14,
Just,
16, maybe she was 16 when I had her.
you know.
And I forgot, everyone should have the copy of the financial report.
Yeah. Any questions on the finance report? I just, first, it's not on the agenda, but I just wanted to echo Pastor Light's comments about public service to include everyone here. You guys have been on this board for years and years and years, and it's takes up a lot of time. I don't think the general public really realizes what you guys put into this. So just a thank you from me, echoing what Larry said. What, you've been here 26 years or something like that, or you guys, you got 20 or whatever it is. 11, but still, that's. I just wanted to make that a public thank you for participating in, public government. Not a lot of people want to do it. Not a lot of people can do it. And if you look at the town finances over the years, and we gotta add Rhonda into this whole discussion. You've really set the town up for success. And I don't want to take anything away from Walt either, because he's been part of that. Again, this is a thank you to Walt too, as far as, operation of the town of Walton has been very successful. And I just wanted you guys to know I appreciate it. And the members of the town community appreciate it as well. So thank you.
I would have to say that back at you because you put in more time than any of us, that because you have to do more paperwork than any of us. So I would agree that thank you also for doing that. And I think it's nice that we get along. We really, if we disagree, we don't take it out of here.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's why everyone's that.
Well, again, it was easy to come into a position like this with a board like this, with a town financial situation the way it is, and with the highway superintendents we've had, with the clerk we have, it makes this job. There's some taxing times, as you guys can imagine, but it's really rewarding, and you've set this town up for success over the years. So, but I'm just part of that cop that came in late. You guys, have taken it for a while. So, okay. We have a new phone system. We're still.
Yeah, it's automatic answer. Yeah, that was weird.
It's voice over internet protocol, VoIP. We're still working out some of the kinks. It did take us a few days to finally get it installed right and to make sure everybody had an operating phone. Thank God for our IT guy from Moniana coming in to assisting us. We still got some questions that I put out to the supplier of the phones that I'm waiting to hear responses from. But overall, I think it's, first and foremost, it's gonna save us $200-300 a month from what we were paying. So, we'll work out the final case.
As an aside for that, doesn't have the phone system, who can we ask how to get the phone number right on Google? Because I know what days you're busy, because they call me first. Then I send to you. You and I have both tried. I don't know, right, if somebody more computer savvy than us would be able to tell us. I don't know what else we can do. I don't know if there's somebody that does know.
The only thing that I heard is if you have a Google account, you can go on to like our website and somewhere on there, it states report a problem.
We did that.
Right. And it's still not getting corrected.
And you and I both did it. We did it, you know, trying to do it.
And if someone Googles the town of Walton on Google, it comes up the village also.
Oh, really? But then,
Is that
the
something
phone
we should
number,
ask Matt next time he's in?
We can, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
the phone number that's on Google comes up and reads into the school. And so I get a lot of phone calls saying, and then it comes up on my system at the school as unknown caller. So I usually know that that's who it is. Where's this? I'm sorry. I give them the right number.
But one of the intents of this phone system too is the automated answering. So, and when we get everything straightened out with websites and whatever sites we're going to put it on, it's one contact number. And then they dial that number, and then they'll be able to scroll through, push 1 for the clerk, 2 for the superintendent. Just so it's easier for the general public to make contact with the offices.
Right.
Instead of
The
looking down
the
at,
school has the same thing, but they have a bank of phones.
right,
One in that bank, but bank of numbers that the public doesn't know. It just goes one to the other. It's like 7 of them. But one of those numbers is what is listed on the wall thing. It's not, I mean, it's not our regular
Google.
number. I'm glad you.
On Google.
really? Okay.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
We both have tried to fix it, and I don't know what else to do. So I don't know if somebody more computer savvy than us would know what to do, but if we could get it fixed, it'd be nice.
That's because we're calling.
There's something about Google that like they take stuff from your website and that's how they update your information. So looking at our website,
Maybe that's where it's wrong.
and like if we have like our number, so like I went to contact and it's just like, oh, fill this out and it's in the bin. It doesn't have like our phone number. So I wonder if we update our contact page.
You know, that was an issue that a gentleman had contacted me about a FOIL request and had asked if we could put our contact information. There is no address other than if you go under town accounts, like offices.
Yeah.
So it should be right there front and center. So I will add that. And it might have been before we added the COVID information, but I pulled some of that stuff off. So we'll redo that.
And then like it's how many hits, like, anything beyond that is not mine. That's part of it.
Yeah. All right, so we'll make contact with Matt and see if, you know, at least he can steer us in the right direction.
I have no idea how many percentage, I mean, I'm sure not all of them come through me, but there are days that a lot of them come, so I know she's been busy because a lot of them have come through me.
Yeah. Okay. Now,
Not that I
can you tell when that phone number comes up?
Yeah, just
before
an
you answer?
unknown caller, so if
Ah.
I'm not, I have a heads up that it's probably for the town.
Yeah.
And then I tell them and explain to them, Google has it wrong, I'm sorry, yeah, I have to redial, this is it.
Okay.
How can that be? Somebody's not fact checking that.
Okay, we also have 2 resolutions. Rhonda, would you read the first one? The thank
Thank
you
you.
resolution.
Okay. Town of Walton offers a thank you to our local small business owners. Whereas small business owners play a vital role in stimulating economic growth and creating jobs. And whereas small businesses owners actively contribute to our community through donations of time, money, and products. And whereas small business owners pay local property taxes and collect sales taxes that bolster village, town, county revenue available for roads and other services. And whereas small business owners create a unique community identity which attracts new residents and encourages increased private investment. And whereas in 2020, many small business owners have weathered an unprecedented economic storm due to huge revenue declines and government mandates. And whereas our small business owners continue to innovate, adapt, and pivot to survive, grow, and serve customers. Now be it resolved that this board pauses in its deliberations to offer a simple thank you to our local small business owners, and be it further resolved that this board appreciates the vision, the hard work, and the resilience a small business owner in this community and throughout Delaware County.
Okay,
Make a motion.
we have a motion,
Okay.
and we have a second to adopt that resolution. Is there any more discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
Are we sending a copy of the resolution to the small businesses?
Well,
I was going to do an approved,
that motion, let me inject, that motion's carried, okay? Before we,
I was planning on sending the approved resolution to the Delaware County Chamber of Commerce, who had provided us this.
Yeah.
And then they could share it out on their website, and we would also put it on our website. And I did actually have it, it's on there right now as a thank you.
okay. And, again, without small businesses, and we really need to shop local and support them. So, great timing with that resolution, so thank you. Okay, and the Public Health Emergency Operations Plan?
This is adoption of the Town Village of Walton continuation of operation plan specific to the public health emergency involvement of communicable disease. Whereas the spread of the novel coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic has caused a public health emergency throughout the United States and indeed the world. And whereas said pandemic has resulted in a number of changes in operations of local governments as a result of previously unforeseen conditions and impacts. And whereas amendments to the New York State labor law, education law require all public employers to be prepared for a public health emergency involving a communicable disease by requiring the drafting and publication of a continuation of operations plan for use during such an emergency. And whereas the Town Village of Walton has prepared a continuation of operations plan and has afforded all applicable duly recognized or certified representation. That doesn't, certified representative of the Town Village of Walton employees an opportunity to commit and provide input on the plan and the action of the plan. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town Village of Walton hereby adopts the above referenced continuation of operations plan effective immediately, and be it further resolved that the finalized plan be published in a conspicuous location within the town village, as well as a municipal website and employee handbook, if applicable. I would have enlarged that.
Why does it say town/village? Are they adopting the same resolution?
Yes, every municipality, any government entity has to adopt this.
I'm just wondering why. I mean, I understand that the village is in the town. Is that why we guys put town/village?
I think what this is it was a generic resolution, right? And I think it really should just say Town of Walton and specific to just that.
That's what I wondered, because I don't know how we sign it as town, village, town/village clerk, down,
Yeah.
you know, after town that.
So within this resolution, I will correct the fact to
Take the village.
redact village and just keep town of Walton.
Yeah.
Or are they doing their own resolution?
Yes.
Each entity has.
I would think that they'd have to do their own.
You think, yes.
And
I
I
just
just
missed the,
for them, and I don't think we can do that.
right.
And this was with the help of the Delaware County Planning Department. The plan was drafted. We provided them information as far as the town goes, and then they helped draft this plan for us. And then, so that's probably why they did it for the village, I'm assuming as well.
We need a motion on that?
Yes.
So
We have a motion and a second to adopt the public health emergency operations plan. Any further discussion? That was a good question. Thank you. All in favor?
Right.
Are there any opposed?
no.
None opposed.
Well, just a little slow.
It's all right, Len, that's okay. That resolution is done. To tie into that, Rhonda and I were talking about emergency operations plans. And one of the things that come out of the phone system hookup is it's internet based. Of course, our internet is plugged into a router, which is plugged into electricity. We lose electricity, we lose communications. I'm sure the school is the same way because they're under VoIP. So Rhonda and I working together are looking at an emergency generator, and we'll get all the numbers and everything. We just talked about this the other day. We're going to get all the costs and everything to present to you and have discussion on, would it be a good idea to have an emergency generator for the town hall?
And to add to that, we have good neighbor money left available that would be able to use that and without any cost to the taxpayers.
Right. Yes.
But doesn't also matters where the signal comes, the signal is, there's no power. See, you can pilot your local device, but the signal has to be being generated. If the power to that station, to the relay station goes out, it's not gonna work.
Right, yeah, well, there's some factors that we can effect and some we can't. But if it's a localized power outage, and
How localized, you're talking about one street? Or because, well, you need to find out where the signal is generated, because what the issue is, if it goes to the post and there's a relay in the post that's driven by current, and it doesn't work,
I
then
have a
it doesn't
question.
work.
When the lights go out at my house, my phone doesn't work because it's internet based.
right,
But I just plug in a regular phone in my outlet and it works.
then you got rid of your landline.
Correct.
Okay,
But then we have a landline then.
no.
No, we're not rid of the landline,
Right,
landline.
That's the whole point, we're paying $500 and some dollars a
So
month.
that's not coming off the landline, it's all back in.
It's all VoIP, yes.
And this would be, to go back to the floods, we were here, we were taking phone calls for people that actually couldn't get across the river. I was more in line with that as well, is that this would, still be the emergency hub for the town officials. And we would have electric here, if you will, we'd have a computer, we would have potentially phone service, but at the very least, we would.
See, one of the problems that's also happening is that everybody is doing this, including the fire department and everybody else. So if this digital radios, it's not like the old ham radios, the signal going out. So if you get a power outlet big enough, nobody can talk to each other.
Yeah, we can only,
No, I know.
but I think it's prudent that we'll present something to you based on
Because like we
We
don't
would
have a
need-
local radio station anymore.
Yeah,
Which you could, power to, okay?
you wanna fund that?
But I don't,
Wanna fund the local radio station?
Well, I thought, I had asked, remember we talked
Yeah,
about.
it's extremely expensive, yeah. And-
um,
But anyways, we'll,
you're talking like a Generac for you.
yeah.
But the bigger question of that, and I think that's a good idea, I have no problem with that, but is that we don't really have an emergency evacuation place. I mean, the school doesn't have generators, the fire hall doesn't either.
Yeah, it's
The
like,
fire hall does. So,
but now, I don't wanna speak for the fire hall, but a lot of people think that's an emergency evacuation site, and in an emergency, it's gotta be an operation site for the firemen to emergency.
Right.
They can't have a million people go
and my
there.
understanding
So-
of the school is that you can't buy one generator, you have to buy two or something, right, Rhonda? I mean, it's a whole convoluted saying that you can't just buy one, or why doesn't?
I think that's a matter of opinion. I think if it can power the whole school, that's one thing. If it's just set up just for emergency type situation, but if you're gonna have one, you might as well be able to power the school to run, I mean, if you're out a week, now COVID brought on a whole new, aspect to all this that we wouldn't have even thought about years ago.
What if we were in Texas, and all of a sudden we have a storm that people are out of electricity and they don't have Generacs. And
It would have
even
been
if they
very
do have
beneficial,
Generacs,
right?
and then they run out of gas, you know what I mean? Because Texas was down for like a week, right?
Right.
That they had that and stuff. So, I mean, I have a Generac, but I don't think it would power my house for a week. So we really should have an evacuation place, and the common sense place is the school, because it's the biggest place.
And that's something that we would have to work with emergency services.
I thought that we have an
We have an emergency operation plan, but it doesn't specify,
part of it.
but there's some intricacies with that, for instance.
They can show up there, that's what they did for the flood, the people showed up, at the school, the high school, but there isn't a generator to, if it was out of electric, right?
Yeah, the problem, I go back to the issue of communications. Because we have, the cell tower goes down.
The cell tower does have a generator.
It has a power on it. And how long does it last?
It's gas fired, so it would last as long as we would supply natural gas.
Which
So it's
we would
gas
have
powered.
here.
Yes.
Natural gas, which we would, have here, because, Walton's very fortunate to have natural gas in it.
Right.
So,
But in some cases, there's been cases where that natural gas has been turned off. 2006, they turned it off because there was gas leaks.
Only certain spots, not all.
yeah, it wasn't there.
Yeah.
The
And
last
you're gonna have
time
that
Walton was
every-
shut down to gas was 1935.
Total, the total.
Well, it really wasn't shut down. In the 30s sometimes, but the pressure got so low that they had to take everybody to the school. Including my dad.
Because.
According to my dad. So anyways,
Anyway, I think that as a community, we should be looking at that. The school seems to be the obvious place for it, but that doesn't mean the school can fund it all. And something she's saying to talk with emergency services, I don't know whether that's something that all the entities would need to.
Patty, that plan has all been drafted a long time ago.
It's outdated.
The fire station, it was updated in 2008. The fire district, the fire station is designated as the emergency operations center, which is where the town board needs to be, not up here, but at the emergency operations center if we have a disaster. The station is also set up as a secondary sheltering place. So the fact that not everybody can get across the river. We have generators there, a generator there that's tested once a week that powers all of the building.
What's the capacity?
well, now
The building?
just be careful of You gotta hear what he said. It's an emergency operations center,
Secondary.
not an emergency evacuation site.
You said it's a
You're
secondary.
thinking,
Secondary.
Secondary evacuation.
but
The reason being
Yeah.
for that is because we can't provide sheltering for civilians and also shelter and our emergency people who come into town, because that's where we shelter them too. When other fire departments come in and stay, we get cots, put them up and stuff like that.
So what you're saying is that the school needs to be that shelter for
it's
citizens.
it's
listed
designated
that way.
in that plan.
It's designated that way along with a couple of churches. And the district has extra generating equipment, mobile generators.
District, fire district.
That we can deploy. We can deploy one, as we've done in the past, to one of the convenience stores so that we can operate
I remember that.
gas pumps and so people can buy gas.
I remember that Fairview, we got lights with it.
We can deploy another one to the school that would generate enough power to run the basic functions over there. You know, not the whole buildings and all, but do a section of it. And we have a couple of smaller generators that are designed, you know, to go
And you
to
make
a
a good point
hilltop
that
or something. It's all
it's
planned
across
out
the
pretty well.
river, so you'd have to have something on this side.
It's actually all planned out pretty well. It's pretty detailed. You might want to take a look at it.
I've heard that, but implementation is what I'm asking. If it was cold and it went out, where do the people go? Because she's just saying, people think it's the fire hall and it's not.
No.
So with no problem with communication.
There are schools, there are churches, it's all laid out.
But people don't know it, is what I'm saying. I don't know it for, and I knew a part of it.
The plan
It's not-
isn't
it's
it
not-
part of the website?
Nobody is going to remember where they're supposed to go until you start giving them instructions. You have a disaster. That's the way that works.
I think our biggest issue going forward be how do we get the information out? Because we lost the radio station and that was the primary focus.
And a lot of houses lost their landlines too, because a lot of people are depending on cell phones.
Radio station can still be operated. We can send a truck to that. So
Well, nobody listens to the radio station anymore because the radio station isn't local.
then you just have to tell them that it's part of your plan.
I mean, how do you tell them that at that point is what we're back to. As I'm saying, we haven't done a good job of communicating an emergency plan.
Yeah, I did misspoke. We do have a radio station. It's just, we lost that local flair to it.
Well, instead of emergency, I think, you know.
In times of emergency, what does the emergency announcement say? Tune to your local radio station
Yeah, but how you gonna turn to it if you don't have electricity?
portable radios, batteries, battery operated.
Any FM radio would do.
Yeah,
Is it operated on FM or AM?
both.
So,
So maybe in your car.
Okay, so it's operational on both bands.
Both bands, yeah.
So, you know, I think that, I mean, isn't my, Rhonda, the emergency operations plan available in the website?
There is.
Because I know that many of those churches are part of it.
I got that note to check and we'll make sure. Great discussion. I think this drives some further discussion down the road. But it all started with, I still think we need a generator for this location because not all power outages are going to revert to an emergency where we would have to go to an EOC, Emergency Operations Center, at the fire hall. We would still need to operate and function as the government for the town.
I understand that, but the radio station thing is very important that people know to do that and that.
Yeah, and
You know,
I got that note.
turn a radio.
Because it's gonna have to be in their car, because who else is gonna have a portable radio at this point in time? That's something you have to think of.
I have one.
A lot of
You
people.
don't have an emergency radio?
I don't know.
Well,
They advertise them on Facebook.
And I guarantee
They-
that anybody younger than me doesn't have one either.
They give them out. Also, your cell phone can turn, many cell phones have the capacity to be FM radios.
We have that app downloaded before you use it.
Well, yeah, of course, yeah.
You know what I'm
But
saying?
many of them don't. I mean,
could see where maybe our age does that, anything lower than our age, I gotta think doesn't have a transistor radio. I don't know. You think the same thing?
No, but they do have this. And
Yeah.
many of them are.
Carly's young now, she doesn't know what a transistor radio
She
is.
just said she'd have batteries.
That's true too.
But
Lucky you.
I think that that's all good, I'm just saying that government is good at doing a plan, but the plan is only as good as when you can communicate, is what I'm saying. So I think that there's a point that we're missing there of communication.
So that's a bullet I have. How do we communicate our plans? And we'll go
And I mean, the
from there.
same goes for the school. I mean, we got, and you can't communicate everything,
No.
and et cetera. There's a point to that too. I mean, we don't communicate exactly where the kids go in an emergency either, because there's a safety issue about it. You know, so, I mean, there's a tip for tat, I'm just saying.
What I'm saying is, there's not only a plan, there's an implementation plan that goes along.
I'm sure there is, but.
So it's all done pretty well.
You know, if you look at New York City issue a go bag to every citizen in the city. Okay?
What?
Did they?
Yeah.
What did you say?
Issue a go bag.
Go bag.
A
We
go.
got a go bag up on the
I
shelf.
do.
And guess what's in that bag?
A radio.
An already. Yeah.
No,
Yeah, we run this. Yeah.
no,
And every year you're gonna get, just like the fire department, handles batteries out for the fire extinguishers, for the fire, for the smoke alarms. The same way they do,
Most smoke detectors are in your house at night, I'm fine.
but they do that. And one thing that is very, very, very inexpensive is a radio. So, you know, and I gotta tell you, if anything happens like that radio station is gonna put a lot of people in communication. You know, so,
Okay.
which is.
Excellent discussion on this, and it drives questions and further discussion down the road. Which, obviously, because of the extended discussion, is necessary.
So, and now that the Chinese have handing on power grid, it becomes more of an issue.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Okay, any committee reports are more than what you had?
Yeah,
It seems they're joking.
I've tried on the federal surplus site to located vehicles. Nobody can give you a straight answer. They don't call you back, or they call you back, it's after the vehicles are off the, because usually when they come up, they're reimbursable and throw you on it for a couple days. And I guess we can't wait forever. We're gonna, probably the highway committee will sit down and write some specs for a couple used vehicles, and we'll go that route and see how we make out. I mean, I go on there every day and look. And every time you try to get information, nobody seems to know. You know, like the last one I looked at, they had fair market value. It was like a 2012 one, it's an SUV. And it fair market value for $5,000. I said, well, that's a good deal. So I called the guy up. He says, well, I said, so can we buy it at that? Well, no, I have to check what Blue Book is on it. So he didn't get back to me the next day. It didn't matter anyways because they're off. But he said,
Are they subcontracting those things to other people, private guys,
no.
trying to,
I don't know what you want to do, but he leaves me a message, well, the value on it's $11,000. Well, that was way higher. You know, so I don't know where they come up with what.
Yeah.
You know, I was looking at, I would say fair market value is traded value. And buying without a warranty or anything, so.
Yeah.
And that was the only guy that ever bothered even calling me back. Unfortunately, it was a day late, it was too much money anyway, so. The bottom line is, we can't just keep hoping for something there, so we'll move on and do something different, so.
so let me ask you something. If you had online paid the $5,000 without calling the guy,
You can't do that. It won't let you do that. They have I can show you if I went on the federal, on that GSA Access
Yeah.
website.
Yeah.
There's a spot where you can supposedly add the item to your cart. Doesn't work when I try to do that, so I don't know if you have to have special.
do you have to have a special account, maybe?
You can't get an answer out of them people. I call the helpline, you know, some of them, I think from what I'm gathering, part of that is just like when some
You
federal
talk to
agency.
Wall about it? You talked to Wall about it?
Well, we've never done this federal, it's called reimbursable.
reimbursement.
It's where you have to actually.
Different
pay.
program.
Yeah, it's a different program. I think some of the stuff on there is just, this reimbursable stuff's only on there like a couple days. Some of that stuff's like auction stuff. Because they said, well, you have to bid on it, which I don't know how you do that. So, and nobody, like I said, nobody can give you a straight answer. And I called our representative at the state, he gave me numbers to call on a couple and they don't know.
They probably hold it long enough for their buddies to get it.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is, but, I mean, I'll keep looking, but it's just been really.
How many promos up there?
Yeah.
How many promos up there?
Too many. The other thing I wanted to ask you too, last meeting, we had Dave Simmons and Patsy Denard on there. Is anything happening on that?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Yes. The fire/department's committee that was putting a lot of this together made the determination that they've done what they think they could do. And they identified members of the community who they think would be a good fit to establish a not-for-profit. So basically that committee is done. We're putting it in hands of the people that the committee thought would be a good fit for the not-for-profit. And there's one person on the committee, one or two on the committee did volunteer to be on that not-for-profit.
Three, I think. They're
Board,
familiar.
you're talking about the board for the not-for-profit?
Right, yeah, board for the not-for-profit. So they're going to get together and we basically just said, here's the reins, you take over. But they all know that every one of us was interested in at least discussing further options with them. So.
I just want to make sure that this
Yes.
keeps progressing.
Yes, I
You know,
do
if we
too.
wait, we're going to be caught.
Yeah, I don't want to.
County came out last Monday with an announcement. I don't think it was an announcement, but public safety. The Department of Emergency Services was directed to come up with 3 proposals for a county-wide EMS system. But I wouldn't hold my breath
No,
on
I
that
think it's
happening
better
anytime
if we
soon.
have-
We need to keep going down the road so
Yeah.
that we take care of our own citizens.
Yeah,
Not
definitely.
Yes.
be.
Yep.
And if the time comes when they actually do it, maybe it can be absorbed into their program.
Yeah.
But I think we need to keep moving forward. with
Yeah,
it on our own.
If we wait, then shame on us. Let's.
agree.
Well, in the people that we discussed are enthusiastic about at least sitting down and developing some type of plan and moving forward.
So when, do we have an ETA of when
No,
they're doing
we
it?
didn't give a timeline. That's one thing we specifically said, don't try to do this in the first month. Because the lawyer that we talked to, Walt, if you're still on, in China,
Yeah, I'm listening.
he said, start out slow. Because other locations that tried this, tried to jump in way too fast and it didn't work. So start out slow, develop a good plan, obviously get the funding sources available and then go from there. But don't think you're just gonna start out with 8 ambulances and 72 providers, so, but when we left the last meeting, there was I had confidence that, wow, okay, the people know the mission and they're gonna move forward, so.
I'm sure that there were still a lot of questions. but-
Oh, there will be always questions, so, and that's up to that,
Those people that the Fellowship Board.
right, yes.
And that's not that committee, that's a different, no, that committee is done, and this is.
It's the board, develop questions, and there's resources available to help answer those questions. And the good thing is, 3 of the people that are on the committee, or that volunteered to be on the board, were on the committee again, like you said. So I'm glad you brought that up. Thanks.
Yeah, we have,
I'm very amused by you guys because, neither my nursing medical director of the emergency room or me as a medical director of the emergency room or me as a medical director for the squad have been contacted or any of this.
I thought you
Stand
were on that
by,
committee.
you will be.
I thought you were on that committee. that
Your
we-
name
that we
was-
were just talking about.
Your name was
No.
mentioned several times.
Yeah, I thought that last.
Your name was mentioned several times. Let me ask you this, do you answer all your phone calls?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay.
If I know they're
Just
coming,
saying.
if I know who they're coming from, if they're coming on a Friday
Joe?
night,
Unknown caller, I get that.
Joe.
Okay, go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, that committee, or that group, I should say, not the committee, that group was meeting this evening. They were gonna meet at 6. And I thought Doc was invited to that, but, I guess he didn't get the memo.
I know.
Let's flip a no call.
No message or nothing.
So, all right,
Because I just talked to my nurse, see, Jennifer was supposed to be on vacation and then she was going to come back. And the last talk that we had in the hospital, the meeting, we were supposed to meet when she came back and I haven't heard anything. So after they were here, I would expect that we would have some type of a meeting. And I talked to my nursing medical director today and she said, no.
okay, so Walt, I know you did a lot of work for the committee. Would you be willing to at least follow up and see what the disconnect between those that were
Yes,
meeting?
I will.
Dr. Rod?
Because I talked to, on my own, to some other people that were instrumental in creating the unit in Hancock. Okay, one went wrong and one went right there.
Yeah.
And they're willing to help us out with it, that situation, because they're on their plan
Right, yes.
now. Right, so they're doing pretty well with
Same
it.
in Sydney.
Right.
Different,
Well, Sydney's up and down, but
yeah.
yeah, actually, and so, those people are available to also, so that we don't repeat the same mistakes, you know what I'm saying?
So anyways, Walt will, yeah, I did hear you said you would do that, Walt?
I can't hardly hear you.
Would you follow up with that board and connect them with Dr. Rod?
That I will do.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So,
Yeah.
like I said, you were mentioned a number of times and you didn't get the memo. Sorry. I don't have an answer to that. Okay, is there any other committee reports?
I was approached by the Vets Auxiliary. They want to do something at Veterans Plaza. They want to know what kinds of things we want to do. They want to eventually put some kind of a memorial there. I told them there wasn't a memorial park. It was a all veterans park. But that we had talked about some kind of markers there too, maybe in the future. I also told her that I think that it needs to have a plan, not just, oh, well, this one wants to do this and this one wants to do this, and you know what I mean, and do a hodgepodge. I think we need to, now that the other one is done, we need to spend some time thinking about what we want that to look like. And if people want to contribute to it, we could do that. I mean, it doesn't have to be all done at once. That stuff. But like she was talking like maybe a bench or maybe a tree, and we talked about a tree. We need a tree for the shade and whatever. So I just think that probably we need to do some more. And I was going to sketch that out, and I didn't get a chance to do that tonight. But I was thinking of something, and then I'll bring it back and just we'll open up a discussion about it. I just don't want to do a hodgepodge thing. So this
So
year,
they're offering something that can enhance the park.
Enhance the aesthetics.
Yeah.
The pleasing aesthetics of the park, and I'm all in favor of it. That's, yeah. You're gonna take the lead on it, all right. Which brings up, remember 2 years ago, the 8-foot pole with the
peace pole.
peace pole, whatever.
That was supposed to be going to Breakies. That of course hasn't happened at this point anyway. Then Greg got sick, so I haven't heard any more about the peace pole. I will follow up with it.
Okay.
We don't have a place to put it right at the moment anyway, but I will follow up with where it is.
Are they planning to build a swimming pool over there in Breakfast?
No, they're not gonna fill it in, they're gonna take it out.
But they got.
They're gonna reclaim the original floodplain there. They're gonna
Oh, they're
take
gonna
a lot
clean
out.
the side of that.
Yeah, they're waiting on the final design. They got approval for additional funding to do a final design for that, because the critical issue is the water that's coming down East Brook. They want to actually, if it does go over the bank, they want to make sure it can go across.
Right.
And there's like inches they have to play with.
So it's still flooded in
So-
front of there because it was the other side coming. It wasn't the river coming up on it, it was the other side coming. Saying
No, not in December. The reason it's puddled there is because it came up through the storm drain. Yeah, like backflowed through the storm drain and just spread out. But the concern is if East Brook does go over the bank, to ensure that the water can continually go out. And it's very technical. If Greg was here, or if Steve Dutcher was here, they could explain it a lot better than I could. But there's some significant planning that has to go in and
So
design.
all that has to happen before we think about aesthetics down there. too,
Right.
Because
Right,
that's the
yes,
place that we
yes.
have to do that,
Yes.
but we can't do that at this point either. It's like waiting, like we had to wait with Venice Plaza, now we have to wait with that one. I mean, it'll come.
Right, but
It should be coming relatively soon, because they were talking about having the site plan done by the spring.
yeah,
Has the village done any kind of a plan on that new green space, I mean, the back? What they're planning,
no, other than we did not get the funding for
the river wall?
the Riverwalk. But as soon as more funding options are available, they're going to continue to pursue them.
No, we're
But
we're pursuing the funding for the river walk from Frankie's to the bridge.
no, that's another phase down the road. Because we don't own that parcel yet. But I did speak with Jeff, and there's some concern about Breaky Motors site during the spring and then into summer to keep the vegetation mowed down. And I told him that is kind of keep that on the to-do list, and if he needs additional resources to ensure that, coming down from Delhi into the village or going out, you don't want to see overgrown brush, and we've got to maintain it, even though we don't own it. We're gonna own it, but we want to at
Oh,
least,
we don't own it yet.
not yet,
Right,
because it hasn't been transferred yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Jeff is looking at his mowing plan for the spring and summer, and I told him whatever he needs from us,
So
come to us and
when
we'll
we do own
ensure.
it, we have to make sure that there is a safety place for people's fishers or don't fish.
Oh, yeah.
But, remember there was that whole, was there a pipe sticking out? I don't know.
Yeah,
Whatever, but we don't own it yet, we can't do anything about it
No,
anyway.
no, not really.
Other than be knowledgeable of it, but when we do own it, we gotta make sure.
But we are going to keep it. We're going to take the initiative to keep it
Look,
presentable. Is that the word I'm looking for? Presentable to
Good plan.
the general public. So, okay, any other committees?
Building and grounds, you said you had one company coming to look at the roof out here.
Yes,
They been here?
they have not been here. They're coming Friday to look at the roof, and hopefully, we'll submit a bid. But that's the only one that I've heard from. But they have time yet.
You never heard anybody back on anything on the temporary repairs?
No.
All right.
Excuse me, and I sent them a letter
That was gonna be my
stating that
next.
we were withdrawing that and that we were, going out to bid for the whole roof.
Okay, that was my other question.
The sooner the better, because
Yeah.
poor Rhonda, when it's raining, she's got to take an umbrella from her office.
No, you're not.
Yeah, okay. Everybody look at the abstracts.
Make a motion to accept it.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to accept the abstracts. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any dissensions? How's that? No? Okay. Approved, or carried, excuse me. All right. We do have to go into executive session. We do not anticipate any action coming out of executive session. Someone make a motion to go into executive session?
So, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay, thank you, everyone.